Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to TCR Trinity Competitive Racing. We are here for the finale. Season 20 coming to an end. It is round 12 out of 12. This is where it all ends. And we are here for the Texas Grand Prix, the season finale, the first time we have been to Circuit of the Americas since season 18. And we got 20 corners, 5.513 kilometers in length. And we will see who can wrap up the season with a win. Both the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships are complete. And we will be on our way to putting a bow tie on things, you know, kind of wrapping it all up. My name is Camden Luca, doing lead commentary tonight, and right now we are on board with GTR Lion. He's about to start his flying lap. 20 corners around here. Some parts of the track are quick, some parts of the track are a little bit slower. This is one of the faster parts of the track here, this front straightaway. And up the hill, you really have to climb up to turn one. This is where things get hairy, though. We may see 3 wide getting into turn one, that very wide uphill left-hand corner. And this is cool right here. Let's take a look from this wide shot of GTR Lion going left and right through the S's at the end of Sector 1 there. And more S's. Up the hill he goes, Sector 2, a very technical part of the track there that we just saw, all of those S's. And if you want a deeper dive at what the track actually looks like from afar, you can take a look at the track map in the bottom right-hand side of your screen. It's quite the diverse track. Lots of different types of corners. Fast corners, slow corners, straightaways, and you see the backstretch right there. That is going to be a prime overtaking spot tonight. And Lion going to start Sector 3 right here. He just got out of the slowest part of the track right there in turns 13 and 14. And now he just went through the triple right-hander down into turn 19. And finishing things up in turn 20. You really have to back up your entry there as GTR Lion did. Solid lap to the line. 136.673 for the King of the Jungle. The Mahmoodster is on a lap. Let's go on board with Mahmood. We have to take a look at this battle for P2 in points, as Mahmood is in the middle of it, quite literally. Mahmood is third in points, 140 on his total. GTR Lion is ahead of him with 151. So those two are at the front of that battle for P2 in points. But don't look now. JMB is there. Fourth in points, 137. So JMB, Lion, and Mahmood all separated by just 14 points going into tonight. So this is what we're going to be hyper-fixated on, as El Capitan puts up a 133.8, and he goes to the top of the boards. I love to see what the qualifying lap record is, and we are a little bit away from that right now. The qualifying lap record is a 129.5 held by Breezy in Season 11. B-Tom just got closer to it with a 131.962, but I don't think that's a record that will get broken, at least in qualifying. B-Tom does have the race lap record with a 131.606. You have to go all the way back to Season 11, though, to find that record. A long time ago now. About halfway through TCR's history, because we've made it through Season 20. Season 11, just about at the halfway point in TCR's history. We have 2 seasons per calendar year here in TCR. So if you do the math, that was about 5 years ago that B-Tom set that race lap record. So he's going to have to pull something out of his bag of tricks tonight if he wants to eclipse that record. El Capitan on his in lap. I think J&B is about to finish up his lap. And we will see what he's got in store. The Brazilian Grand Prix winner from round number 10. He was able to beat B-Tom after B-Tom had a big speeding penalty. And he's going to abandon that lap and come back into the pits. Now, this is a name you haven't seen in quite a few weeks, but tonight is the return of MacT, and he is back in those pink and blue colors. He was a beast, a force to be reckoned with in the first couple of rounds, and he is back in those colors tonight as a reserve. But let's see what he can put up here. He went toe-to-toe with B-Tom the first couple of weeks, got a couple of second-place finishes along the way. Tonight he is looking for his first TCR Grand Prix win, and we will see if he can do that. Through turn 19, MacT comes, solid lap, has not invalidated yet. Final turn, you have to really back up that entry, like I said before. To the line, he goes provisional pole by about half a second over B-Tom with a 131.5. That is a strong lap there, and MacT could be the favorite tonight. I know he probably got more practice than B-Tom. As a matter of fact, I think maybe everyone has gotten more practice than B-Tom. But, you know, B-Tom, he's kind of done this season to where he hasn't had much time to work with before the race, but he shows up and he gets it done. And as a matter of fact, B-Tom is batting 9 for 11 this season. Can he make it 10 for 12 to wrap it up? And that percentage is well around, I'd say, 85%. So he has just had a phenomenal season, and he's got competition, though. MacT gave him a run for his money the first couple of weeks that he raced throughout the season earlier on, and I like the pace that I see out of MacT. The first lap of the night for him, and it was a 131.5. So, a force to be reckoned with, I think. And he's going to back it down here and come back into the pits. He's going to go for another lap, actually. Take a look at this. MacT going to double it up. And let's see if he can improve. Through the S's, up the hill now into turn number 9, through turn 10, a bit squirrely there on corner exit. Down the hill he goes, down to the chicane. Let's take a look at his delta after the first sector. We'll find out here at the end of the straightaway as he gets closer to wrapping up sector 2. MacT is close to a 10th to the good on his previous lap. But with B-Tom improving to a 31.6, I think Maxi needs to improve to some degree on this lap if he wants to just have more insurance of the idea that he's going to get pole tonight. And he's going to back out of that lap. Didn't like what he saw there. There's only 5 minutes left, so I agree with him because it's about a minute and a half around this track. So if you do a minute and a half for your flying lap, you're going to need at least a minute and a half to get back to the pits, and then another minute and a half to get back out on track. So, yeah, safe option coming back into the pits there. Lion, though, finishing up his lap, and he goes up to a 32.3. Question is, though, can someone stop B-Tom from getting pole position for the 8th time this season? That's the big question that I think everyone is going to be asking, including myself, because B-Tom has won the last 2 poles. And actually, if we're talking about pure qualifying, B-Tom has the last 4 because he qualified 5th at Austria, but remember, that was the TCR Grand Prix, and the qualifying for that race was a 5-lap sprint. So when it comes to qualifying laps, B-Tom has been 4 for 4 in the last 4 events. But here he goes, about to start his flyer. He needs about a 10th to get ahead of his rival, Macti, in that Alpine. And let's see if he can do it. I want to keep in mind, J&B has yet to put up a lap. Maybe he's just waiting, you know. He's letting it simmer a little bit. He doesn't want to give his tricks away just yet, you know. It's like a magician. You don't want to give away all of your good tricks right away because then everybody's going to leave halfway through the show and they're going to get bored, you know. You got to balance it out a little bit. And I think B-Tom is saving his best tricks for last here. And we will see if he has some fancy tricks out of his trick box. Well, they say tricks are for kids, but tricks can be for adults. This is a family-friendly show. We do welcome all ages of groups, and we'll see if the magician of B-Tom can pull a Houdini on the grid right here and eclipse the Alpine and go pole position here for the 9th time. 9 for 12 in season 20. Let's see if the 8-time champ can go P1 on the board with less than 3 minutes remaining. A little squirrely on corner exit, but he gets it. 131.2. Having to saw at the wheel there in that final corner, nonetheless, gets it done. 131.2. So now the question is, can Macti eclipse him? And you know what? He's saying, hell yeah, I can. He's going out right now in the bottom right hand of your screen. You see him going up the hill to turn 1. That slow crawl up the hill. Let's see if he can get a better lap. I want to keep in mind, J&B has yet to go out. I think he's going out right now. I think he's going to give it a run for his money here. I think he's got plenty of time, but you definitely, if you're in J&B scenario, you don't want to be on a Sunday stroll, or in this case, a Tuesday night slow cruise around the track. You kind of want to hustle, and he's got Mahmoud right in front of him. May want to give some space to Mahmoudster here, and he may have heard me, actually. Giving space to Mahmoud to allow Mahmoud to make a move on the top 2 for the pole position. You know, I was thinking there, does he go for another lap? It was in the back of my mind, but you see that fuel icon is bright red. I don't think he could if he wanted to. El Capitan is invalid. So that is his qualifying over. B-Tom is hanging it up for qualifying. Macti has started his final lap of qualifying. Let's see if he can get B-Tom. He needs 0.3 of a second. Can he do it? Headed through this uphill section, left, right, seems to be the entire Sector 1 at this track. It's just a constant left, right. Try not to get nauseous on the ride. You don't want to ruin it for everybody else, as Maxi up the hill once again. On the previous couple of games, you would be blinded by the light on the backstretch here, as you have quite a view of the sky in front of you. It is a little cloudy today, so I don't think we're going to be seeing Jesus through the bright sky of qualifying, but nonetheless, Maxi is rounding that very slow turn 15, the slowest corner on this racetrack. The second half of this track flows quite well. It's quite a fun little ride for these drivers. Oh man, he came close to going invalid there. Maxi to the finish line. Does he go pole? He does not. He misses pole by 0.07 of a second. So close to B-Tom. Doesn't quite get it. Mahmoud going to be the next one to finish things up here. Does he have something in the tank here for pole position? He's all out of battery to the finish line. He improves by the hair of his chin. Not enough for pole. JMB, his only lap, goes up to P4, and we will see where Lion wound up. Lion did get ahead of JMB. JMB going to qualify 5th, and that is not going to help his bid for P2 in points. Lion qualified 3rd. Okay. So 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in points. Qualified back to back to back. So I think Lions qualifying, we will see which one of them gets the better end of the stick tonight. And we are just about ready to get this show on the road. So if you got your podium predictions, feel free to leave them down in the chat. I think B-Tom's going to get it done. Win number 59, I think it's going to happen for him. I got Mac T P2. I know he's finished twice already this season, but I think B-Tom's deservingly the favorite for tonight, just based off his record this season. And the fact that B-Tom didn't put in much practice at all, and he still put up pole position. So I think that is enough to be said. I'm ready. You guys ready? Put your predictions down in the comments. And then we'll go Lion P3. I doubted him last week, and he got on the podium, so I think it's fair this week to put him on my podium. So I got B-Tom, Mac T, and Lion, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So you guys, you are prone to the commentator's curse tonight, and we will see if it happens. So this is the final race of Season 20. It's all coming to an end here, and you know, these TCR seasons are a real indicator to me of how fast time really goes, because I remember at the start of the season, back in early July, I was looking at this race, the finale, and saying, man, October 21st is a long ways away, but yeah, it has come and gone. So time flies, and TCR is a big reminder to me of that, because it's kind of an every week thing. We have a couple of off weeks throughout the season, but it just kind of goes and goes and goes. It's an every week occasion. So we've had 12 races, 2 preseason races before the season, and after 14 weeks of racing, we are going to put a bow tie on things right now. I'm hearing from the Discord, Pit Road reporter Camden Luca here. I am hearing that Mahmoud lost time in qualifying because of the weight from the buffalo chicken wing sandwich he had last week. You know, those things are filling. I had one recently. I showed Mahmoud. He showed me his buffalo chicken sandwich. It was kind of an exchange of pictures, if you will. And you know, those things do fill you up, and every little ounce of a second matters here in Formula One. So maybe it's a good thing I left Mahmoud off my podium tonight. Maybe my instincts actually worked for once in my podium predictions. Let's take a look at the tires. Everybody but Capitan is on the same strategy. Capitan at the caboose tonight to start things out. So he's like, you know what, I'm going to try something different, and we'll see if it works. And I'm getting another report from the pit lane / Discord that rain is on the radar tonight. B-Tom may or may not have said that if we keep waiting that the rain will show up. So if I knew that, I would have had us wait 10 more minutes. But no, I wouldn't do that. I want to get to bed. All these guys want to get to bed. It's a Tuesday night. Everyone's got things going on for Wednesday morning. So we do take a look at our possible race strategies. This could get altered depending on if rain shows up late in this race. So the Capitan may know what he's doing. He may be looking to extend those tires until the rain shows up, and then he can just go on to the inners. So maybe a Capitan podium could be in the cards for tonight, and maybe I should have put him on my podium. But knowing me, I probably shouldn't have. Capitan, it's probably a good thing I didn't put you on my podium prediction. Although my fantasy football team has been pretty good this year, so maybe things are turning around for me, because my F1 predictions, my commentary predictions, those have always been horrendous. My fantasy football team has always been horrendous. I'm very anti-psychic. That's what I call it. But my fantasy football team has been good this year. But the fact that I just said that means they're probably going to lose the next 3 games. So I may have just jinxed that, but... All right, let's see who can park and who can't park. I think everybody is doing a good job so far. I think we may have a grid of people who can park. Oh, Mahmoud, you've ruined it. Mahmoud. Mahmoud, you always do this to me. All right, for the final time. Season 20, round 12 out of 12, the Texas Grand Prix. The drivers are on the grid, 5 red lights, and it is time to go, go, go. Off the line, Mac T gets a good start. B-Tom pinching him down to the inside as they make their way up to turn 1. Big lock up there, 3 wide. 2 Ferraris in that 3 wide battle. GTR Lion giving it a stab at things, but B-Tom goes up to P1 and holds off Mac T, who is side by side with Lion, gets Lion before the S's, and Mac T is back up to P2. Great stuff there by these guys in the first couple of corners, and that was pretty smooth and steady as we take a look at the positions gained and lost. JMB got a spot on Mahmoud right there. That is a couple of points. And if you look at the points battle, those guys are separated by 3. So as of now, they would be separated by just 1 point at the end of the season. with Mahmoud getting the better end of it. But Mahmoud says, I want more. I want to finish ahead of you, JMB. He does not want to take a risk. That means JMB, if he gets Lion here on track, he will have... Don't want to use up that battery too much. And we come to the end of lap 1. B-Tom leads the way. Capitan maybe struggling on those hard tires. Maybe it could be in the long run if we do have rain. Maybe he's conserving those things. When we look at the leaderboard, though, left-hand side of your screen, top 2 have already pulled a gap on Lion, and JMB, you know, I'm not going to arrest you for this, but I think, yeah. Oh, he got a warning already for a collision, along with his teammate also has a warning as well. So a few warnings already on the table so far. The police are ready. They are on their heels, ready to go and arrest some race car drivers. Here goes J&B for P3 down into turn 12, and he made that look pretty easy. Up into the final podium spot he goes. J&B would be going for his 6th podium of the season if he were to finish in the top 3. He just got fastest lap. That's a point right there. It's like that SpongeBob meme. Write that down, write that down. That's another point that could sway in J&B's favor for P3 in the standings. And with him getting that spot on Lion and Mahmoud being behind them, this is what we got to look at. It could come down to literally a single point. Which is why showing up every week really pays off, I'm telling you. It's tough to commit to a league schedule like this, to where it's 12 rounds, a couple of off weeks in between, but it's a long season, you know, 3 to 4 months of consistent attendance, and these guys, for the most part, have showed up just about every week, and it could come back to help them. J&B does not have any DNFs, but there was a race in Italy where he finished 11th because of a puncture that happened with just 2 laps to go, and at the time he was in play for a 3rd or 4th place finish that day. He lost a ton of points because of that. 1 point, I'm telling you, even a single point can make a big difference, but when you lose chunks of points like that, that's where things really hurt you. And Mahmoud, he's been here every week, but he had a 10th place in Miami, so he lost a handful of points there. Speaking of Miami, GTR Lion, his worst finish on the season is 6th. He's been super consistent, but it came in the Miami Grand Prix after 2 speeding penalties, which actually broke the lobby. If you want to go back and take a look at that, you can go look at round 8 from Miami. That was quite the show of Lion literally, I'm not even joking, he literally broke the lobby by getting a speeding penalty on pit road. It was at the top of my list of memorable lobby breaks in the time I've been in TCR with the Codemasters games. One for the books for sure, but Lion moving past that. He's had a good season. Handful of podiums, a win in the Britain reverse sprint race, that's a mouthful. And then he did win the 5-lap sprint for the TCR Grand Prix in Austria. So Lion, king of the jungle, but also king of the sprints this season. He did come 2nd in the Brazil sprint race too. So if you do an average of all of the sprint events this season, he's probably around an average finish of 1.5 between all of the sprint events we've had this season. He's been fantastic in those events as Mahmoud, getting every inch of the racetrack and beyond. He's kind of hanging out there, half a second behind Lion right now. He has used a lot of that battery, though, so maybe he's just trying to stay within range. Lion, per usual, being pretty consistent, around a nice 69% on the battery. JMB ahead of him, around 54%. Lion right there, 6.7 on the battery. You know, I remember when it was cool to say that 6, 8, 7, or 6 was afraid of 7, you know. Or no, yeah, 6 was afraid of 7. 7, 8, 9, that's where numbers eat each other. But I don't know, I remember when it was cool to say that 6 was afraid of 7, but now people just say the numbers, and for whatever reason, that's popular. For the lead, MacT to the inside of B-Tom. Side by side into the slow part of the racetrack. Ooh, they're not giving an inch. MacT thought about a switchback to the inside there in turn 15. Couldn't quite make it work. He's going to have to hang out in P2 for the time being. Oh, good exit there in turn 19. Maybe he tries to make a move here on the front stretch. I think B-Tom's going to have to sweat a little bit tonight. I don't know if this is going to be a runaway for him. MacT gave him quite a run for his money in the season opener back in Belgium, which was a long time ago now. And once again, he's giving him a run for his money here early on in this race, but with weather looming, you never know if that is going to change, which would be a shock to me, because B-Tom has only lost 2 races this season. His worst finish is second. By far the greatest season I think any driver has had in TCR history. And if you're just tuning in to TCR first time this season, or if you haven't really kept up, B-Tom and Ferrari have both wrapped up their championships. B-Tom wrapping up drivers, Ferrari wrapping up constructors. Nothing on the table tonight in those regards, but we do have an intense battle for P2 in points between these 3 right here. And as of now, Lion would get P2 in points as he is sliding trying to stay with JMB. JMB would get P3 in the point standings by just a couple of points over Mahmoud, who would be P4 in points as it stands based on where people are on the racetrack. So JMB looking good. He's going to have to, I think he's going to have to hold off Lion though. Things could get a little interesting though if that fastest lap goes JMB's way, and if he ends up losing a spot to Lion here. Because say JMB finishes 4th with the fastest lap, they would tie. Mahmoud and JMB would tie. So it is going to come down to maybe the last couple of laps here to determine who gets what in points. But these 3 duking it out here trying to get P2. And Lion is a little bit ahead of the other 2 for P2. So I think Lion is in a good spot to get P2. But Mahmoud and JMB could still get him, but it's a long shot. The real battle, the intense one, is for P3 between JMB and Mahmoud. But all 3 of these guys can go for P2 tonight, and we'll see how it unfolds. Yeah, look at the battery, though. I'm telling you, I think MacT's got the pace right now. Maybe just minding his time here, saving those tires, saving the battery. Seeing what he can do. And I'm curious to see as they go on to different tires, and if weather is a factor, I'm curious to see what happens here. Man, Macti is quick. He is quick tonight. Does he get B-Tom in the end? That's the big question. Big lockup from Mahmoud right there, trying to get every little ounce out of that car. And, you know, I think they've fixed the DRS problem from the previous couple of games, because in the previous couple of games, it was really overpowering. But this is one of those tracks to where DRS is still a big factor. You have two really long straightaways. I think it's pretty easy to stay within DRS of the guys in front of you, and for P3 on track right now, we've got a little train led by that guy right there, Mr. JNB. And JNB leading the train, hoping to catch up to the train of two and possibly join them. He's quite a ways back though. I think B-Tom and Macti are about to enter a completely separate railroad. They're so far ahead on the train tracks that they're about to get off and kind of go on to a whole new railroad track. Hey Michael, good to see you on the Twitch side of things. If you want to become more involved with TCR, you can go to trinitycompetitiveracing.netlify.app, and our Discord is on there. You can also go to the YouTube and Twitch links, and you should find the Discord link in there. We do have things in the Discord. We have different chats. We have a community of people. Regardless of what goes on next season, the TCR Discord is still here, and there's lots of things going on, lots of people chatting about F1. We do have a politics chat. That one was pretty spicy during the election. It was, oh man, that was a time where you just get a bowl of popcorn, you sit back, and you just kind of observe everything that goes on. Oh man, I forgot to get popcorn from the grocery store today. I was meaning to do that. I was meaning to get popcorn. Mahmoud, maybe that's our next thing. I need to get popcorn, and I'll send you a picture of the popcorn. Yeah, I was gonna, you know, I haven't really watched many movies recently, and I've been meaning to do that. And a bowl of popcorn is quite the incentive to getting the movie out onto the screen in front of you. You know, popcorn's a big incentive in general, you know. So if you have a big bowl of popcorn in front of you, then that will make you want to watch a movie or watch a race from the helicopter shot where it all started. Many seasons ago, TJ and I did the first helicopter sound effects. We did it ourselves, so we didn't have this fancy sound effect that I played just now. We did it with our voices back in season 14 at this track. And that's where it all started. And it's come full circle here. Season 20, I'm still doing it. Still doing the helicopter. The first ever sound effect that I came up with for the TCR booth. And it's come full circle. So it's the original. Man, Macti, I'm telling you, he's been a lot better in that corner tonight. I've noticed he's really backed up his entry into turn 19. Gets that car landed right on the curbs on corner exit. He's done a really good job in that corner of the track. Take a look at this, though. Mahmoud, first one into the pits. And he is not waiting for potential weather. He is going to switch to the hard tires and get those mediums off. And probably not the worst thing in the world. He needs to try something, but he needs to change his wing. Oh my goodness. I know there was contact between he and JMB early on. I'm curious if he meant to change the wing, because it didn't look like the wing was holding him back that much pace-wise, but that is a big gamble by Mahmoud. And we'll see if it pays off. He lost a ton of time there in the pits changing his wing, but we'll see if the undercut goes into his favor. Strategy did go Mahmoud's way last week. And he was able to get on the podium. So we'll see if it happens this week, but he may have to settle for P3 because these two are in a world of their own. Maxi has burned the battery, though. I'm curious if he's going to think about pitting here this lap. He is, and B-Tom sees it. He pits at the last second. Wow, B-Tom last second comes in the pits at the same time. Oh, J-stake there by JMB. And he's going to have to come in the pits. That is the worst time for that to happen in the midst of a points battle. JMB going to have to change his wing. But Mahmoud also changed his wing as well. So let's see where JMB comes out in comparison to Mahmoud. Mahmoud's got him by a lot. You see JMB in the background just coming out of the pits. That is huge. And that could be the difference between P3 and P4 in the standings. JMB all the way back to the caboose as his partner in crime, his dad, Capitan, staying out. He has yet to pit off of those hard tires, which he started the race with. But look what this did, though. B-Tom gained a lot on Maxi, who is going to war against Capitan. He's got him. About a second and a half. B-Tom was able to gain a lot more time coming into the pits, I think. And that is huge, because now Maxi's going to have to get back within 1 second of B-Tom. Now, this is one of those tracks where DRS does play a big factor in whether or not you stay with the guy in front of you. Yeah, he's already back up to a second, though. Take a look at the delta on the left-hand side of your screen. 1.2 seconds. I think if B-Tom wins this race, he's going to have to give credit to that pit stop. The way he entered the pits. And after those pit stops with Mahmoud and JMB switching their wings and JMB having his crash, this has gotten pretty spread out at the back. GTR Lion, Mahmoud, JMB. The three of them are separated by 11 seconds in total between the three of them. Versus before, where you could probably put a blanket over the three of them and they could have a slumber party. I don't think the three of them would consent to that. But they could have had one, based on how close they were before. And oh, I think we had a mistake from Maxi there, 2 seconds behind now. Something happened with Maxi there. Because B-Tom has pulled out almost another second on him just in this past lap. B-Tom being smooth and consistent as he normally is. Could be in for his 10th win on the season and win number 59 on his illustrious TCR career with 8 championships to complement it. halfway through the race, and there's fastest lap by B-Tom, a 135.8. That is a point going his way, and B-Tom is on his way to eclipsing 300 points on the year through just 12 rounds. Just a stellar season by B-Tom, and as a matter of fact, let's do some mathematics right now. If we take 300 points and divide it by 12 rounds, he is averaging 25 points a round, which is absurd. He's averaging a win a race. Now keep in mind, this does also include the TCR Grand Prix points and the sprint points. So he's not averaging a first place finish every week. He has not won every single race, but he's been getting just about as many points as you can get. But Maxi has closed that gap back up a little bit by about a few tenths. And I do want to look at the sky. We are getting some clouds. I don't know if they're going to get here, though. These clouds haven't rolled in quick enough. I don't know if it's going to play a factor just yet. But man, look at the delta. He's back down to 1 second already on the Ferrari driver. Capitan finally making his pit stop, and that will do it for the first round of pit stops. Everyone's made a pit stop, so hopefully the police won't have to go and disqualify people and throw them in the back of a squad car and give them a lesson. We don't like having the police. They're good to have on standby. We have them every week, but we don't want to have to make them work overtime. They've worked overtime in a few rounds this season. They've done their fair share of work in most of the rounds, but tonight they have had quite the breeze, and I'm sure they enjoy that. But you know what? I'm curious what's going to happen here between the two McLarens. JMB on a slower tire. Capitan already within 3 seconds. As of now, JMB would be getting P4 in points. He needs to get by Mahmoud if he wants a chance at it, but he's got about a country mile and a half up the road to go until he gets him. But what I'm looking at is this rubber band effect I'm seeing with the Delta. Maxi tends to get within 1 second, and then he goes back to 2 seconds, and then he goes back up to 1 second, then he goes down to 2 seconds. B-Tom is extending this, though, by getting fastest lap once again. And he's got fastest lap by about 8 tenths over JMB right now. So, whoa! Oh, and JMB loses it again and hits the same wall out of turn 19. And with that being said, JMB, I hate to give this to you, but you have won the Fidget Spinner of the Race Award. And along with that, you are getting the Price is Right losing horn because you quit on us. And we're down to 5. That corner, turn 19, gave J&B some trouble there. And still a good season from J&B, though. The DNF to wrap up the season. Probably not the best taste in his mouth, but yeah, a handful of podiums, a win in Brazil. Only one of 3 winners thus far this season. So, nonetheless, J&B, a great season 20. And, yeah, he and Capitan did a good job in Constructors. So, and this rubber band effect coming into play. These guys are wearing that rubber band to death. It's back down to 1.5 seconds after being at 2.2 about a minute and a half ago. And now it's down to 1.4. This is really interesting, actually, just seeing how much better B-Tom is in certain corners and how much better MACT is in certain corners. They're about even on the straightaway. They didn't use any battery there, and the delta stayed about the same. So I don't think the straightaways is making any sort of difference at all with these guys. Back down to 1.4, lurking at 1.3. This is where Maxi gains a lot of his time. But those slow corners is where B-Tom really gains his ground. He gains a lot in Sector 1, though, I've noticed. Yeah, 1.3. Down to 1.2, though. I think these guys are even on pace. It's just certain corners, one of them is better than the other. And this is not over by any stretch of the imagination. And what strikes me, though, is B-Tom really using up that battery. And MACT as well. They're doing everything they can here. They're putting it to the limit. Oh, MACT sliding there. That's one of those corners where you can really hang it out wide. Get the car to slide a little bit. This triple right-hander here, this is not a corner or an area of the track where you want to slide, because if you slide through there, you're going to lose it. I remember there was a league that I ran back in F1 2018, I believe, and I lost it in that corner. The third corner of the triple right-hander. And I was going for a championship at the time, too, in that league, and that wreck ended up costing me the championship, so... and I definitely had PTSD from that, because every race I did after that event, I would always be a little extra cautious going through that corner. That final corner in the triple right-hander of turn 18. But it didn't hurt me at all. I won a couple of races here in TCR at this track, and a couple in a different league. Best track for the longest time, actually. I was really good at this track. F1 22, F1 23. I was really good at this track on those games. Should have won a golden class race here, season 16. I didn't put enough fuel in the car, and I had to save the last 10 or so laps, and Lion ended up getting me that day. He was superb, as he was throughout that entire season back in season 16. He and I went toe-to-toe a couple times late in that season when I was finally figuring out the wheel. That was my first season with wheel, and the first half of that season I was just trying to get adjusted to it, but then it started to make sense the second half of the season, and Lion and we went toe-to-toe at this track, and we went toe-to-toe in Australia in season 16, and he got me both times. Oh, Mahmood! No, Mahmood. We've had the police on standby today. They have not been busy, but now they're looking for something to do, and they've got something to do. You're on the naughty list. and straight to jail for you, because the police need to be employed. And Mahmoud, you have given them employment, so congratulations. But you know what? Since you're giving us the helicopter shot, we'll go on board with you for the helicopter shot. Where it all began back in Season 14, the first ever helicopter sound effects by TJ and myself. Lap 20, less than 10 laps to go, and those clouds are starting to become more relevant in the sky. There's more and more of them that are popping up and showing their ugly faces, and I don't know if we're going to get rain, though. I don't see enough of them yet to where it looks like it's about to pour. And even if it does rain, I think, if anything, it'll get here lap 27, lap 28, probably. And at that point, there's not a lot of time from then to the end of the finish to where it's going to make much of a difference with the conditions on the track. And it's quite striking to see that BTOM is using every little battery that he can, because typically when you get under 10% on the battery, that's when the battery really doesn't work, because it's trying to harvest as much as it can. And it's not like a phone to where you can use as much of the battery as you can until it dies. When you get under 10% in these cars, it becomes harder for it to recharge. It's kind of just on low power mode at that point. But take a look at this. Macti, under 1 second. He does not have DRS yet. He may get it, though, this next lap. Savannah Spalding, good to see you in the chat. You're a Max Verstappen fan. This is the right time to be a Verstappen fan. He has been on a roll recently, and I've been saying this all season. If he is able to win the championship this season, when having probably the third best car on the grid, I think it will become valid to call him the greatest of all time. And I'm not huge into GOAT debates. I really think it's quite subjective, because you're comparing different eras, different cars, different drivers. But if Max Verstappen is able to complete this comeback, considering how far down he was, there's no question. It'll be his 5th championship in a row, which would tie him with Michael Schumacher for the most consecutive championships in a row. It would put him in a tie with Fangio on the all-time championships list. Just, it would be historic if Verstappen can win it this season. And I'm not a Verstappen fan at all. I'm a Lewis Hamilton fan, actually, but I give respect when respect is due. You know, you give credit where credit's due. And Verstappen, he's the best driver in the world right now. So I'm really hoping that he can complete the comeback. And it would be embarrassing for McLaren, considering that they basically are doing everything they can to have Lando Norris win the championship, and Lando has, in my opinion, he hasn't proven himself to be a championship caliber driver, because he's been given everything at McLaren right now, and he's behind Piastri, and he's about to be behind Verstappen in the championship. So I think McLaren needs to just let the two of them fight it out and then see what happens. And I think at that point, I think they give Piastri a better chance of winning it all. And preventing Verstappen from winning if they just let Piastri go 100%. If they just let Piastri, if they let Piastri race to his full potential, Piastri's going to win the championship. And I think he would be in a better scenario by now if they just let things play out naturally between Piastri and Lando. I think Piastri would be at a bigger lead, and I think he would actually have a more comfortable lead. And I think it would be difficult for Verstappen. But I think Verstappen, I think he's got a chance. He's only 40 points back. He's still got 5 rounds to go. He's gonna have to. He's either gonna have to win every race, or at the very minimum, get on the podium every race. He cannot have a DNF. If Max Verstappen has a DNF next week, it's over. Piastri's got the championship. This gap, though, speaking of gaps, let's check back in with the TCR race, because we still got a few laps left in this race. MacT, about 1.5 back. I don't know if he's going to be able to get to B-Tom unless a B-Tom makes a mistake. He's got within 1 second, but it's been hard to stay within DRS range, and I think B-Tom's done a phenomenal job of limiting his mistakes, and he could be on his way to a record-breaking 10th victory in a single season, which is the most. El Capitan, fastest lap, a 1:35 flat. For El Capitan, he came in for softs, and he got it done. And he may be celebrating right there a little bit. He got it by 0.3 over B-Tom. El Capitan, fastest lap, and you know what? B-Tom is not going to be able to go for it. He cannot go and hit for softs. He does not have a comfortable lead the way that he normally does at the end of these races. 4 laps to go for the finale. Season 20 coming to an end. And don't look now, but P3 on track is looking a little spicy. If Mahmoud didn't have that penalty, boy, this would be fun to watch. But I think I am going to nail my podium prediction in order. I had B-Tom, MacT, and Lion first, second, and third. I think this is a great way to finish things up here and get a podium prediction correct. I could probably count on one hand the amount of times I've done that in TCR, which says a lot because I've done a lot of commentary for TCR, and I've been here a while. The first race I did, I believe it was at this track back in Season 13, and it was with Seafreeze. Season 13 Golden Class finale at this track. And fast forward 7 seasons, and here we are at the end of Season 20. It really doesn't feel that long ago, though. I mean, 2022 was when Season 13 was, and yes, 2022 is not long enough ago now to where it feels like it's been that long, but it's been 3.5 years. It just shows how long this league has been around for. It's 20 seasons, 10 years. Started back in 2016. It's just been a great run. 20 seasons. Lots of different tiers. Hundreds and hundreds of drivers. But that's what this has been about. Meeting new people, racing with people, having fun. And B-Tom has 2 more laps until he wins the season finale. He's got 2 more laps to go. 40 more corners for B-Tom around Circuit of the Americas until he takes home round 12 in a very good fight against Mac T. Both of these guys have done phenomenal tonight. Mac T does have a little bit of ammo to work with, a little bit more than B-Tom, but at this point, he's been kind of hovering around 1.5 seconds for a little while now, so I think B-Tom's got this wrapped up. I love this shot. I wish we could get this shot more often. This reminds me of the camera angles they used to have back in the 90s, when they had the camera to the left of the driver's helmet. We don't ever see this camera shot nowadays, I feel like. And even in the game, you don't really get many scenarios where you can see it from that angle. Take a look at this. Mahmoud has been able to get by GTR Lion on the back straightaway. Mahmoud does have that penalty though, but the question is, can he pull a gap? He's been quicker in the last few laps. This would not make a difference in points. It looks like GTR Lion's going to hold off Mahmoud for P2 in points, and Mahmoud will hold off JMD for P3 in points. Final lap. Through the S's for the final time. Nice and steady. Mistake-free for B-Tom. Just needs to bring it home here. 1.2 seconds. When you have a gap like that in the final lap, there's always a chance that the guy behind you can catch DRS, but you're at a point to where you just got to make sure you don't make mistakes and you'll be coming home for the victory. And Lion looking to come home in P3 and get his 5th podium of the season. A bit of a mistake there, though, up the hill. Has to catch the car. He needs to make sure he comes home scotch-free as well, because Mahmoud is starting to pull a gap. And what a season it's been for B-Tom. Going for career win number 59, his 10th win on the season. He clinched his 8th championship a few rounds ago, and to the finish line he comes. B-Tom will win the season finale, the Texas Grand Prix, round 12. Mac T, P2, great effort for him. And behind them, the battle for P3 is on. Lion in a good spot here to clinch P3 for tonight and clinch P2 in the standings. Been a great season for Ferrari. They wrapped up Constructors a few rounds ago. And to the finish line, GTR Lion will finish in 3rd. Mahmoud will get P4. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, I got my podium prediction 100% correct. And Capitan will round us out here. And just like that, when Capitan comes to the line, that will do it for Season 20. And Capitan gonna come home in 5th place. And that will match his season best. B-Tom does his pose. There he is on the podium with his teammates, as we have seen that quite a bit this season. And there they are, the 2 Ferraris with their team manager on the podium, as we have seen many times this season. And don't tell me I've got a black screen right now. Oh. It's all right. There's only 6 people. I'm sure I can figure out where people wound up. I do want to see driver of the day, though. Capitan gets driver of the day. All right. Very good. Capitan did get fastest lap too, so fastest lap and driver of the day. Good stuff from him. And just like that, we will make our way over to the podium interviews. I do have a gift. What's this? Cool. All right, enough of that. Let's get to the podium interview. We will talk to these guys, kind of get their thoughts about the race. And then we will sign off. All right, let's get this podium show on the road. We're going to start with P1, B-Tom. You had to sweat a little bit today because of Macti making a unexpected return. He showed up today, had great pace, but you were able to get him by a couple seconds there at the end. What I noticed is that the gap between you two really fluctuated to where you would be ahead by 2 seconds, and then all of a sudden you're only ahead by 1 second, and then it goes back to 2 seconds. Where did you feel like you were better than him at certain parts of the racetrack?
I think a large part of it was just down to where we're using the ERS. And then I do think that he was stronger than me in Sector 3, whereas I think I was a bit quicker in Sector 1 and 2. In quali, I mean, I think I was 3 tenths? No. I think I was more than like 4 tenths faster across Sector 1 and Sector 2, but I was 4 tenths slower at Sector 3. So, yeah, it was an interesting one, but it seemed like after a while it started to stabilize, and that was just because I'd had my attempts at going for the fastest lap, and then after that I was like, okay, I need to make sure I can actually get to the end with any sort of decent pace, because I was pushing pretty hard early on, but yeah, he definitely kept me on my toes, that's for sure.
I noticed that he was really good in turn 19. He would get you by a couple tenths most of the laps, and that's where he was gaining a lot of his time at. But I noticed you guys seem pretty similar on the straightaways. There was a lap where I was on board with both of you guys, and you had around the same amount of battery. You weren't touching the battery, and the gap between you guys didn't move at all. So I think the straightaways you guys were pretty even. Maybe a slight difference in wings, but Yeah, it seemed like you guys were pretty even on pace throughout the night.
Yeah, for sure. He had, I mean, just in like all the low-speed corners in general, he was pretty good. Whereas I think through the high-speed stuff, assuming like ERS usage was equal, I was a bit quicker. So, yeah, it was kind of interesting to see how it all played out in the race. So, in hindsight, I probably would have prioritized Sector 3 a little bit more, just with like the setup and everything. Because, I mean, braking and just getting the car rotated without like over-rotating the car, and losing time with the slide was a pretty big challenge the entire race, but yeah, it was fun.
So, season 20 is over. You finished with 10 wins on the year. Considering you didn't practice before races, I gotta say, that's pretty good, man. That's like almost as good as you can do. So, yeah, just like final thoughts on season 20, and then, yeah, just how you think it went overall for you.
Yeah, it was a pretty good season. In terms of results, I don't really think I could have done much better. Obviously, at Australia, I was a bit unlucky with the safety car timing, as I was literally the only one who had passed the pits and the safety car came out. And then Brazil was a combination of me fumbling, my speeding in the pits, and then I also had a weird glitch with the game in which like warnings weren't popping up for me, and my pit entry speed wasn't showing up either, which partly led to the speeding. But I mean, I should have just played it safe. But yeah, I mean, those two results aside, it was pretty much all you could really ask for. So yeah, a good season, and it's been fun. I know the grid hasn't exactly been, full, but we've had a consistent group of guys who stuck with it from start to finish, so fair play to them, and yeah, congrats on a good season all around. I don't think we really had any incidents, so yeah, it's been a good time.
Yeah, that's perfectly put. We've got a good crew here. We stuck it out, made it to the end, and yeah, I've appreciated you showing up every week with your busy schedule and just showing up, making the grid fuller, and obviously with your pace, you've done a great job this season. So yeah, man, congrats on the win, congrats on the championship. I'll give you that role in the Discord once we're done here, and you can officially claim your season 20 championship.
Yeah. Thank you, and GG to everyone for a good season. Again, like I said earlier, we're a small but mighty bunch. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff, guys.
Yeah, right on. All right, we are going to move from one Ferrari to the other, and we've got GTR Lion on the podium to wrap up season 20. Yeah, pretty straightforward race from you. You, Mahmoud, and JMB were all pretty close for about the first half of the race, and then JMB ended up having a bit of a spin. He fell back, and then Mahmoud got a penalty, so you kind of were the one that survived out of your group, and you ended up getting P3, but also P2 in the standings. So, yeah, how did you think the race went from your perspective? It seemed like it went pretty well.
Yeah, it was a pretty good race. Honestly, I'll miss Tuesday races, but look forward to season 21. It was a good race overall. I think Mahmoud had a pretty solid pace in the second stint. He was trying to catch up, and eventually he made a couple of mistakes towards the end of the race where, I locked up and he was able to slide through in my DRS and, couldn't eventually break it through. So I just had to keep it on track and ride the last lap, and I'm happy to be on the podium and congrats to the Ferrari team for the constructors. I know we looked at a long time ago. And finishing second is probably the best I could have done this season. So I'm pretty happy that I achieved the maximum potential that I can get to.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys almost scored 500 points for Ferrari, which is just incredible. And it shows the pace that you and B-Tom have both had this season. So, yeah, I guess with that being said, how do you think your season went overall?
Season was good. You know, honestly, I don't have enough time on the game yet, unfortunately. But I think there's a little bit of pace to be found if I spend more time on it and get used to the car and get used to the setups a little bit. I tend to be conservative and run high downforce, which, you know, overall the pace is decent, but I think I am losing some pace because of my setups. But maybe for season 21 we'll get that somewhat corrected and we'll do that. You know, I enjoyed the season battling with GMB and Mahmoud. Pretty much all races. So, you know, I had to practice, I had to show up, I had to do the best I can every single week. And, you know, managed to bring it home in second, so can't complain with the results.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, that's all I have for you. So, yeah, thanks for always showing up and helping out with the league. It definitely doesn't go unnoticed from my part. So, appreciate having you around and, yeah, just.
And thank you, Camden, for, you know, doing the awesome commentary, and I enjoy rewatching the races every time I have dinner on Tuesday. So once we're done here, I'll go have some dinner and watch the race. So thanks again for you as well for coordinating and commentating and getting things coordinated, and hopefully we'll have a better season going into 21.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, I appreciate that. All right. Yeah, and have a good night.
Thank you, Camden.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Season 20 has come to a close. It's been quite the season when it comes to records being broken, good battles. There's been several races that had great battles. One of the races that comes to mind is the TCR Grand Prix. We had a heck of a show that happened there. It's been a lot of fun, been a lot of great moments here in the booth. Having Colby join me for the Britain reversed race. That was a historic event. That was such a fun race to call. Both races, actually, the sprint and the feature race, those were fun to call for Britain. But yeah, 20 seasons here in TCR. We have wrapped up the 20th season. It's great the fact that we've gotten to this moment and that we were able to do 20 seasons. So, but yeah, that was the finale. Season 20 is over. So that means we will not have a race next week, and we will see when things happen in the future. So that will do it for tonight. My name is Camden Luca. Until we meet again.